And finally, let's talk about the socialist paradise that is Venezuela. And yes, I will be tying this back around to Bernie Sanders, whose literal initials are BS, and Octavio Ocasio Santa Minda Panta Maria, occasional cortex. That's what they want. That's what Bernie Sanders and AOC and the Democrats, that's what they want. Power. Now think about this for a second. I don't want to talk more about Venezuela and just what an absolute disaster that is. There's something even deeper than that you must observe, because this is something that is in the human condition. It's within us all to do, and we must be aware of it. Now, if you're watching this on YouTube, if you're into podcasts, there are links to this video clip that you're watching is just a clip from my daily podcast. And if you're into podcasts, if you would, go down there, click on whichever link suits you, or look it up for yourself on Spotify or whatever. It's everywhere. It's syndicated, so you can find it just about anywhere. And please click on that podcast link and hit subscribe. If you're just watching on YouTube, also, if you're here, please hit subscribe. See that down there? I have, right around 300 subscribers. Unsatisfactory people, please hit subscribe. And hit share and hit the bell icon and all that other stuff. Smash it. Now, Venezuela. One thing that doesn't exactly leap off of the pages, as you've seen in the last week or so, Venezuela decided to block human aid from coming into the country. There was a bridge that went into Venezuela, and Nicolas Maduro had his people go out and put tractor trailers out there to block people from coming across that bridge. And on top of that, they lit some of the aid on fire. And on top of that, the people that were trying to get to the Venezuelan people who are suffering and trying to get to the aid, no less than 2 of those people were shot and killed. You probably saw that. But one thing that perhaps maybe you didn't see was something even deeper, is that Nicolas Maduro called upon his citizens who work at the police department to fire upon and kill his own citizens. Now, this is something that has happened repeatedly throughout all of history, and we can see it. And the fact that we can see it throughout all of history means that the underlying problem is way down deep in all of our DNA. When people are told, listen, if you want to keep eating food, drinking clean water, having medicines for your children, then I need you to go out and fight and kill these other people. Because these are the people that are the reason why we're having such a hard time. We've seen it over and over again. If you want to go look at what the former Soviet Union did to their people, and what China did to their own people, right? What what the Cambodian people did to their own people, what the Cubans did to their own people, right? That, when you can see it all over the place, then that tells you, like, well, this is something that's in all of us. And we must be careful. The kind of person who would take orders from their dictator, Nicolas Maduro, and fire upon their brothers and sisters of Venezuela. This is what Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez wants. This is what Bernie Sanders wants. And you know that because, well, what do they have in common with people like Stalin? Stalin lived in a beautiful mansion and was overweight. He never starved. He was rich. Castro, he was rich. His son is right now like a social media star, showing off how wealthy he is. Right? This is what these people, this is the common thread. Nicolas Maduro was on TV eating tapas, eating some tacos, man, in front of his starving people. You think Nicolas Maduro is having a hard time? No, he had Salt Bae cook him a meal while his people are starving. So what do these people all have in common? Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez just bought a posh apartment with the $10 million that she got from Netflix. Bernie Sanders has 3 homes. Now listen, I'm a Big fan of capitalism. I'm registered to vote as a Republican. I served in the United States Marine Corps. Like, I'm all about capitalism, and yet I don't have 3 homes. Bernie Sanders is a socialist who loves the Soviet Union. He went to the Soviet Union like in their darker days and was like, oh, these people have got it all figured out, man. These people are legit. Bernie Sanders was on TV saying, breadlines are a good thing. Well, you know, people are hungry and you got breadlines, and that means they're eating. This is their end game. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Bernie Sanders, Nicolas Maduro, Joseph Stalin, they can't wait until you need them to eat something as simple as a baked loaf of bread. They want that because that's the true sign of power, is when you're truly underneath their boot. Do you understand that? And when you look around and you see people in your own country that are willing to exterminate the lives of other people so that they can be found in right standing with their own ilk, that's what you need to be aware of in yourself and in your surroundings. Look, I've said this before. I had an uncle who was a sheriff, right? I'm a big fan of the police, not the band, but the occupation. Don't stand so close to me. I'm a big fan of cops, policemen, sheriffs, marshals, FBI agents, CIA agents. I'm a big fan. Secret Service, big fan. And I know that a large swath of those people are diehard American flag saluting patriots. But there is an element in every group. You're going to have weak links. We saw that we had a weak link in the CIA at the very, very tippy top. John Brennan, a communist, was running the CIA. That's not a conspiracy theory, by the way. Comey, right? McCabe, Stroke's girlfriend. These people, these are people who will destroy America for the sake of feeling like they're in right standing. And again, these people will never apologize. And you want to know why? They will never know that they're wrong. They'll never be able to see that they are evil. That when the breadlines come, right, in America, and let me just quote Donald Trump by saying, America will never be a socialist nation. It will never happen. But there's going to be some infighting. That's definitely coming, and there are people amongst us, possibly members in our own families, who will throw us under the bus and throw us into a position where we are that much closer to standing in breadlines. And why? Because they can't admit when they're wrong. You think Nicolas Maduro is sorry that those people died? Do you think the men who actually pulled the trigger on their fellow citizens, right? These are people that were little kids at one point, wanted to grow up and be a policeman, wanted to protect, their fellow citizens, and now they're firing upon their own fellow citizens. You want to know how it is that people become a Nazi? That's how it is. That's how people become Nazis. That's when you see socialists killing the members of their own civilization, members of their own community, people that they swore to protect. What are they doing it for? They're doing it for money and for food, for water, for medicines, for education. They're doing it for themselves. That's what we must beware of, and you have to see that in the rhetoric. It's already like the writing is on the wall. Like, there's nothing else that needs to be exposed. Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez already came out and said, we're in charge. You people, you little people, you sit in the cheap seats. And if you die, well, that's just because you were a bad person. You're a bad person. You're not a true socialist. You deserve to die. How dare you starve? How dare you starve when I'm such a good person and I'm trying to help everybody by becoming a socialist? Bernie Sanders goes on television and talks about like this socialist dream. Do you guys even know the history of this guy? Like, he's a lifelong loser. And then he got into politics. And then he kept on losing. Only now there was more money involved, and he bought himself 3 homes. Well, everybody needs to be a socialist but me. I need to be in charge of the socialists, and since I'm in charge of the socialists, I should get 3 houses. That just makes sense. I mean, if you're in charge, you should get extra. Right? And they don't hear themselves talking. Well, if you're in charge, you should get extra. If you're in charge, I should get $10 million from Netflix because I'm such a captivating and I'm just so iconic that, I mean, naturally Netflix should do a documentary about me and give me $10 million for it. And also, a whole bunch of members of the Obama administration are now working for Netflix. Don't look at that. Never mind that, folks. Nothing to see here, folks. Nothing to see that Susan Rice is actually like one of the head people now at Netflix. And then Ocasio gets $10 million for what? Who the F is going to be watching that documentary? I was a bartender. And then I ran for Congress and I won somehow. Oh, that's real gripping. That's real gripping stuff. Here's $10 million. And she's now living in her beautiful apartment going, well, of course I should have this. I'm in charge. And if you're in charge, you should get extra. Now I have extra. No, I'm not going to share it with you. I have people in charge stuff to do with this money. What does that lead to? Venezuela and every single government that's ever tried it. Because what it does is it cripples the spirit. When you start preaching that socialism, like you're going to get stuff for free, you're not going to have to pay for anything. When you start preaching that noise, it appeals to the weakest, most disgusting parts of all of us. The need to be lazy, that need to have an enemy. And the enemy in this case is like people who work hard and do well in life. Oh, they're the enemy. That sniveling, sneering demon that says, you need to be more greedy. As Winston Churchill said, he said, socialism is the religion of the greedy and the weak. And that's what Ocasio-Cortez wants for you. It's what Bernie Sanders wants for you. It's what all those people, Elizabeth Warren, oh, I'm Native American. And they just keep letting her talk. And Alexandria and Bernie, BS Bernie, they just keep letting these people talk. And why? Because the demon that wants power never stops. It's always been around, and it most likely always will be until that great day. Oh, come, Lord Jesus. Till that great day when all this stuff is cast down. So you think about that when you look at Venezuela. Don't just see that socialism sucks and that Maduro's a bad guy. Keep in mind that the citizens fired upon their fellow citizens, and that's the thing you have to be aware of. If you have police members in your family, sit them down and talk with them, and just make them say it. Like, look, do you understand why it is that you are not to turn on your own citizens, even if your kids go hungry? That you can't take somebody else's life or take somebody else's property to preserve your own life? Do you understand that that's wrong to do that? Why is it wrong to do that? Well, why don't you read the Bible? Right? For those people, for Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, for Juicy Smollett, for Don Lemon, for Jim Acosta, nothing's wrong. Nothing's wrong to those people. Because there is no right and wrong for those people. Why would it be wrong for Jussie Smollett to watch 2 innocent people get convicted of a crime they had nothing to do with and go to prison? Why? Well, because there's no such thing as wrong. Why not throw people in prison? Why not throw people into a breadline? Why not fire upon your own citizens? This is what we need to be aware of. That's the show for today. Hey, listen, we'll talk to you guys tomorrow. Please hit subscribe, please hit share, and please send messages in on the website, archavocate.com. You can send me emails there. Website's probably going to be going down next month. We'll see. But please send me a message so I can get your email address, and then I can email you stuff if I open up a new website, if I change the name of the podcast, which is most likely going to happen. Or if if YouTube decides to cut down, chop down this channel, and I have to start another one, I want to be able to email you. I promise I will never email you, advertisements from onit.com or anything like that, right? If I send you something, it's going to be from me for the purposes of letting you know where I'm at and what I'm doing. So that's it for today, and we will talk to you tomorrow. Don't be a socialist, you jerks. Bye bye.